Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Bloom. I am the Quality Places Manager at Kansas Commerce. It's wonderful to see so many people and so many nonprofits represented on this call today. We are going to jump right in. It is my honor to introduce you to Miranda Carpenter. Miranda has started with Kansas Commerce in October. She has taken over the administration of the tax credits. I am still involved in my new role as Quality Places Manager. I get to oversee childcare, housing, placemaking, and tax credits for the entire state. But Miranda will be taking over the administration of this program and already has and is doing a fantastic job. So thank you again for joining today and giving Miranda your attention on Community Service Program tax credits. Miranda, teach us.
I'm going to do my best, and I am so thankful for Sarah being on the call to answer some of the questions that inevitably comes with experience. So Sarah's got that, and she will help us out along the way if needed. So I pushed recording. I wanted to make sure I did that. Okay, so we're going to get started here. There you go. Okay. So, like Sarah said, I'm Miranda Carpenter, Quality Places Specialist with the Kansas Department of Commerce. Like I mentioned, I am recording. The recording will be posted to the website following this. So if there's any questions along the way or anything like that, we will make sure that those are all captured and we can share this out for anyone who wasn't able to attend. You'll also be able to share that link after as well. So today we're going to do just an introduction to the Community Service Program tax credits, walk through the timeline, look at the funding sources, what are tax credits, how do they work, the application requirements. We're actually going to walk through the application and then also guide you through the website. I've intentionally left a bit of time at the end so we can do both of those things and then also answer any questions that come up along the way. The chat is available, so if you have any questions, you can send those through the chat as you think of them. Otherwise, you can, towards the end, we'll have some time to unmute and ask some question and answers then. So the Community Service Program tax credits help nonprofits raise money for projects that serve the community. So childcare, crime prevention, healthcare, and youth job training. Through this program, the state allows awarded nonprofits to offer tax credits to donors who donate money to their projects. This makes it easier for organizations to fund their work and encourages more donations. CSP supports communities by reducing the cost for donors and help make them the ability to make contributions to charitable organizations that fund important local projects. The proposed project should be unique or one-time in nature, creating lasting value for charitable organizations. Some projects would be a capital campaign, major equipment purchase, major renovation, capacity building. The next couple of slides include pictures and location information from some of our more recent projects. You can find a list and a map on our website that shows the awarded projects over the last couple of years. So first, donations have helped fund housing in Lenexa with Friends of Johnson County Developmental Supports, Youth Horizons in Wichita, Valley Hope in Norton. They've also helped fund community improvements like the Catholic Charities Support Center renovation in Hayes, the Midland Theater Foundation restoration in Coffeyville, and the Lindsberg Old Mill and Swedish Heritage Museum in Lindsberg, Kansas. They've also helped fund university expansions, renovations, and equipment at the Kansas Health Science University in Wichita and Bethel College in Newton. Healthcare services like the Lake Mary Kirk Davis Center in Paola Citizens Foundation in Colby and the Trigo Memorial Hospital renovation in Waukene. They've also helped fund so much more. The Flint Hills Discovery Center in Manhattan, Stormont Vale Foundation, cardiovascular expansion and renovation in Topeka, and the Neosho Memorial Regional Medical Center in Chanute. So with the program timeline, the application opens March 1st, this Saturday. It's crazy that March is already here, but it is. March 1st and through April 30th. The application closes at 11:59 on April 30th. and technical assistance will stop at 4 p.m. that day. There is a $250 application fee. I'll show you where you can pay that on the website. Awarded projects will be notified no later than July 1st. If you're awarded, there will be a required training where we walk you through the process of the documentation, how to record your donations, all of that. The tax credits are active July 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2026. And the projects are to be completed and the final project reports are due by June 30th, 2027. So that's kind of new this year. Sorry, I've got people coming in still. That's kind of new this year that we're requiring them to be complete by that day. The money spent, donations to be spent, projects complete by June 30th. So if you've participated in this program in the past, that's a little bit different. I'm happy to walk through any questions with that along the way. Okay, the program funding, there's $4.13 million available in tax credits this year, and the maximum award per organization is $200,000. Due to the strong demand, and this is a very competitive application, you may receive less than the full amount requested, just so that we can attempt to get the money out across the state equitably. So now we're going to get into what are tax credits and how do they work. So a tax credit is a dollar for dollar reduction on the actual tax someone owes. It's not a deduction. They're usually more valuable than a deduction because they directly cut down on a donor's tax bill. So for example, if you owe $5,000 in taxes and you get a $1,000 tax credit, you now only owe $4,000. Tax credits can be combined with a deduction in some circumstances with a federal and state credit and federal deduction. And tax credits are refundable. So if your tax credit is greater than your tax liability, the donor can receive a refund. How do tax credits work in rural versus urban? How do we decide that? So the percentage is awarded based on the location of the charity, not the location of the donor. So a rural community, an organization in a rural community is less than 15,000 in population. Those communities, those organizations will receive a 70% tax credit on those donations. Urban communities are more than 15,000, they receive a 50% tax credit. There's a little asterisk here that all Johnson County applicants, regardless of community size, are eligible for 50% tax credit. So here we'll walk through the process for the awarded nonprofit, and then the next slide, the process for your donors. So first, if your organization applies and you're awarded, you'll be awarded and you'll celebrate, and then you'll attend the training. Next, you'll start to receive donations from donors for the project. This can be a check, this can be property, stocks and bonds, etc. The minimum donation is $250. Once you've received the donation, you'll document the donation, donor information on the forms that we'll talk through during that training. And then you'll issue a tax credit certificate to your donor. The organization is responsible for tracking all eligible donations and ensuring that you don't exceed your allotted amount. You'll complete quarterly reports, update us on the project, provide pictures, invite us to your ribbon cutting, all of those things, provide other data points. And then last, your donor includes their tax certificate when they're filing their taxes. And now from the donors side of things, they'll make a donation to one of the awarded organizations. Their tax credit will be calculated and they'll receive their tax certificate. When they're filing their tax return, they'll provide the tax certificate and fill out the appropriate forms, documentations. One of the things that I like to highlight about this application, as I mentioned earlier, the tax credits are active July 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2026. So your donors could receive tax credits in 2 different tax years if they choose to donate in both tax years. They could donate on December 31st, 2025, and then January 1st, 2026, and still receive tax credits in those 2 different tax years. So it's kind of unique and another incentive for donors to get involved in this. Here's the tax credit formula. So if you're a rural organization receiving 70% tax credits, and you're asking for $150,000 in tax credits, that will generate $214,285 in donations. The calculation here is shown, and then the same with in an urban community at 50%, $150,000 will generate $300,000 in donations. I'm seeing that some people are having issues hearing. Are we good now? Hopefully we're good. I am recording, so hopefully that will be able to, you guys can listen back if needed. And also happy to jump on a call one-on-one and answer questions. We can talk about that in a bit. So application requirements and what to expect. There we go. So you will find this information in the CSP guidelines document, which will go through the website, or in the sample application. But what I really want to point out here is that some of these word limits for the narratives are lower than some other applications. We really want to make sure that you're focusing on answering the questions listed. There are some little prompts below some of the questions that help you with some things that we will be looking for. So we really want you to stick to that word limit, stick to answering the questions that are specifically asked in that category. So for example, in the organization introduction, you don't necessarily need to get into the timeline. You will have the opportunity to do that in the project goals and timeline section. Okay. Another piece of the application is pledge letters and support letters. These are two different things, so we want to make sure that we're clear on what those are and how they benefit your application. So first, a pledge letter. You'll find a template for pledge letters on the website, but these are letters of commitment from your donors detailing a specific amount of money that they're willing to commit in kind, support, or services. And we've listed two different examples here that show directly how they impact the score you'll receive. We want to ensure that the organization that is applying has the ability to fully utilize. Sorry, that's kind of distracting when people jump in the waiting room, but I should just admit everyone, I guess. So we want to make sure that if you're asking for or whatever amount of money that you're asking for the tax credits, that you have the ability to fully utilize those. So here you'll see that example one, this will receive a high score, is someone asking for $200,000 in tax credits. They would need then $400,000 to fully utilize the tax credits. Their pledges secured in those pledge letters that are attached to your application was $360,000. So they're utilizing 90% of their tax credits. They're going to receive a strong score because we can see that most of the funding is pledged. They have donors willing to support the project. This other example would receive a lower score. The total requested is $200,000. They need $400,000 to fully use the credits, but they only show pledge letters for about $60,000, which would receive a lower score due to the uncertainty of using the full amount. So this, like I said, there is a template on the website. This is a letter that simply states that this X donor is willing to donate X number of dollars to support the project. And those would be then scanned in and attached to the application. Okay, so support letters are different in that these are unique, heartfelt, individually written by supporters who are willing, or individuals who are willing to support your project. So we want to see letters from those who will be impacted by the project and hear more about why they feel it's deserving of funding. Here we're looking for, again, those heartfelt, unique letters. We do know that there may be instances where your direct beneficiaries listed here may not be able to submit letters of support due to confidentiality. We understand that. So another example for a direct beneficiary would be maybe a staff member who might be implementing the project or working on the project alongside. That would be a great example of someone who could write a letter of support as well. These again will have a spot on the application for you to combine them all and upload them to your application. Again, a generic form letter or a letter that is just the information is just plugged in those are going to score lower than a heartfelt, unique letter. We also want to kind of diversify where the letters come from. So we want to see your local and state government officials, your donors, your board members, anyone that can provide some additional support on why they feel this project is important. These are some of the documents that we're going to ask you to attach to the application. There is a complete list in the program guidelines. We want to make sure that you refer to that list in the guidelines. I'll show you that when we walk through the website. But some of these documents may be specific to the entities that's applying. So, for example, a child care facility is applying. We're going to ask you to provide a copy of your child care license. So, if it doesn't apply to you, it's not a required document. We just want to make sure that everyone understands that there are different instances where different things are required, and that's detailed in the guidelines. Okay, so we're going to walk through the website and the application now. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, can everyone see my screen now? So can you put in the chat? Are we good? Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is our kansascommerce.gov/CSP. Will take you to our Community Service Program Tax Credits website. This website, again, details everything that we have discussed already. A great place to reference for any of those one-time questions. If you scroll down just midway through the page, you'll see right here in bold, download the program guidelines for more information or program requirements. When you click that, it'll take you here to our program guidelines for this fiscal year. Details all of the applications, all the information about the application, all the information about the program, different special features, what's rural versus urban, all of that. And then also provides down here the application criteria, what proposals are required to attach, the maximum of points, how things are scored, all of that is included. Scroll down a little bit farther, you can see that this link right here will be active on March 1st, which would link to Submittable and allow you to apply. There is a sample application that you can download and view. If you're eager to review those questions prior, you're welcome to do that at any point. And then the webinar, this right here, this will change. Once we get the recording downloaded, this will link to the previously recorded webinar that we're doing today. There's some frequently asked questions, different tips. And then this part I always like to highlight. This is a map of previously funded projects across Kansas. And you can kind of scroll over the top of them to see what projects have been funded at what amount in different years. So all the way back to 2022. There's also the awarded programs from 24 and 25 right here with a project description and contact information. You go a little bit further, we can see the application tools. So this is going to be that sample pledge letter I referenced earlier. It's addressed to me, but you just receive those back, download them and attach them. There is also the payment portal to pay the $250 application fee that's required for this, as well as the budget template that's required for the application. Once you're awarded, we have some different resources there. There's also quarterly and final reports required once awarded. So those are done through Submittable. and these will link to those 2 forms. Last is some of the different forms that are required for once awarded that you provide to your donors and that we use to document some of the donations. So that is the website. Next, I'm going to walk through the application. So you will create a login with Submittable. Once you click that link, once the application's active, you'll create a login with Submittable and okay. Logins with Submittable and start the application. One of the cool things about this is that there is the ability to collaborate on these applications. You can add multiple people to help you collaborate and answer the questions. I just want to point out that if you do have collaborators on the application, whoever starts the application has to be the one to submit it. So make sure that you have that information ready to go. And once everyone is finished and puts the bow on everything, you can have your original, the person who started the application hit submit for you. One other thing I mentioned earlier is that below each question is, I'm going to scroll down, I'll come back up in a second, but below each question is a little bit of like, tips and tricks type thing. So the organization introduction, we have some additional questions down here that we just want to make sure, again, you only have 250 words, make sure that you're addressing those questions that are referenced below. So we'll start at the top and kind of just walk through, but organization name, project title, project description, 75 words, 2 to 3 sentences, a brief description. And then you're selecting here which area your project qualifies under. If your childcare, does this address childcare? And that's, meets the needs of those under the age of 5. The city population, again, this is you're going to reference the project's address for the population, not your donor's address or anything like that. This is the population of the organization, the location of the organization that's applying. I'll take that back. The location of the project. Service area, state representatives, state senators, you're going to put their names. The person applying, the applicant's name from your articles of incorporation, address, all of this kind of contact information piece, executive director and email address. If you've been awarded in the past, your status, project director, contact information, and then we get into the narrative questions. So the organization, introduction, need, summary, administration. Again, all of these provide some additional context below that we'd like you to address as you're answering these questions. Project completion date, again, reminding you that these projects must be complete by June 30th, 2027. Now we get down to the attachments. So the project budget, again, that you have to submit this on the CSP project budget, which is located on the website. And then the pledge letters, if you can, you will want to combine all of those into a single PDF and then attach that. And they need to reflect, again, the specific dollar amount, and then you'll put the total dollar amount of pledge letters received here. You're going to check that you have paid your application fee. We'll receive a report that shows to confirm that. And then our assurances and your agreements to participate. Here are the other required attachments. So bylaws, tax exemption, independent audit or 990, a letter of good standing, a meeting, minutes from your board meeting where the CSP project application was approved, your board members, your service area, and again, that license if applicable. We also have a spot to upload any additional documents to support, so you could upload your support letters here. I'm going to stop sharing there. Okay. That was quick, guys. What questions can I help answer? And Sarah, jump in if there's anything else you think that I need to respond to in the chat that I may have missed.
Yeah, happy to read those out for you. So Carrie has a question. Can we request funds for items in the project that have already been purchased along with items we have not yet paid for?
So nothing purchased prior to the award date. So prior to July 1st. This cannot be used to pay off debt. But once you're awarded and we've got all that finalized, you've attended the training, then yes, moving forward, you're good to go.
And projects can already be started, but again, we cannot pay for anything already purchased or debt. Projects can be underway though. Brian asks, for childcare, we have someone identified, but they don't have a license as we are building something with the funding. We chair our childcare committee. Is there something else that we need to provide in lieu of a license?
Sarah, I'll defer to you as the childcare.
They need to have their license in place prior to funding. That's the case for CSP.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that. They do not have to have their license in place. If they are an operate, I'm sorry. I was at a CDBG roadshow today and my brain's a little muddled. They do not have to have their license in place. They only have to have a nonprofit status in place or have a nonprofit on to apply on their behalf. I'm so sorry. Obviously, if you are building a new childcare facility, you will not have your license in place, but yes, you can still use tax credits.
You're good.
Sorry, Ryan.
Okay, I see. What is the maximum number of donation letters that can be uploaded? There's no maximum, as many as you want. Yep. And then I did see one I thought earlier. Does the pledge letter need to identify that they will use the tax credits in both tax years, or is that just a given? So if they want to use the tax credits in both years, that's up to them. But the pledge letter just needs to identify that they are willing to donate X number of dollars. The date necessarily just needs to be within that timeline.
Lindsay asks, we're looking at a capital campaign to open a boys and girls site in a different community. Similar question, because we don't have a site there. Are we eligible to apply to build operating funds to open a site?
Yes.
Lindsay, the short answer is yes. The long answer is also yes, but you're going to be applying with your address. So your operating address. The tax credits will be applied to your operating address. So even if you are doing if you're doing a new site in a new community that does not have an address, you can do that, but the tax credits will be based on where you are applying from, where the organization is applying from. If we need to clarify that more, please let us know. Yes, you would apply out of Hutchinson, even though your project's in a different area. Correct. Feel free to ask additional questions. If you have a specific project that you have in mind, we'd love to hear about those specific projects. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about those as well. Carla says, when you say it can't be used for debt, but can be used for projects underway. So for example, if your childcare center is underway, but you still need funds to purchase cribs and changing tables and toys and playground equipment, your project is underway, but you're still fundraising for the equipment and the amenities to go inside the building. Totally okay. If your childcare center is already underway and you have taken out a $200,000 loan that needs to be paid off, we cannot use tax credits for that loan. Miranda, will donations of stock or QCD, qualified charitable donations, qualify for tax credits?
Yes, you can, stock, bonds, all of that. There's details in the, go ahead.
No, you're half right. You're half right. So Yes, on the stocks, bonds, all of that, yes. Qualified charitable donations do not qualify because those, well, okay, hold on. I'm getting them mixed up with donor advised funds. Yes, qualified charitable donations also qualify. Donor advised funds do not. Sorry, I'm getting all of the acronyms confused. So yes, all of that qualifies. I should just let you answer. Vern says, can an organization apply for more than one project?
You might have to give us a little bit more detail, but the project needs to be, it would be one project.
So yes, Vern, you could, but you most likely would not be awarded for both. Unless they're in different cities, then possibly. But because Commerce wants to be equitable across the state, we definitely do look at geographical locations when making these awards. That's not to say if multiple projects in the same city won't be awarded, but if it's the same organization in the same city, I think that would be tough.
Yeah.
Carla says, our project started in January and the building renovations are happening now. Can they be used to pay directly to the construction company?
So this, again, if the project can be started, but you can't be paying anything for past. So it would be from July 1st on. That
Yep.
makes sense.
So as long as the construction company doesn't invoice you prior to you receiving the donations from tax credits, then yes. Shelby says, I work for a not-for-profit critical access hospital, and we have been looking into options for an MRI machine. Because this is such a large expense, is it okay if I have donors and any remaining amount we don't raise, we put towards a loan, or does the project have to be completely funded?
Sarah, I'm going to defer to you again on that.
Sure. Yes. So if you apply for tax credits to help pay for the MRI machine and you fall short and you need to fill the gap with a loan, totally acceptable. Just cannot use the donations raised through tax credits to pay off the loan. So, yep, totally fine. And we have funded many an MRI machine before.
Yeah.
How many years must pass before an organization who is awarded tax credits can apply again for a different project?
Okay, so as long as the project is different, then the organization could apply every year.
Every other year.
Every other year.
So because it's an 18-month program, if you were awarded in 2024, July of 2024, you would not be eligible in July of 2025. You would have to wait until 26 to apply. So essentially, we don't want you to be in the middle of a project raising funds and apply again. So every other year, as long as you have a different project, like Miranda said, you would be eligible. Any other questions?
Like Sarah said, if anybody wants to unmute and kind of talk through their project, we'd be happy to brainstorm or chat with you further.
That might be the quickest CSP webinar in the history of webinars.
Fast talker, get to the point and answer what we can.
Miranda, do you want to throw up your contact information?
Review. Okay. You can see that. There is my name, email. Nope, can't see it. There we go. Name, email address, phone number. Again, happy to chat through your project, set up a meeting, come out and see it, whatever we need to do to make sure that you feel ready and prepared to submit. Anything that we can do along the way to support, again, that technical assistance, us helping you through any difficulties through the application ends that the day of the application, April 30th at 4 o'clock. But otherwise, yeah, give us a call, give me an email, and I'd be happy to chat through what we can do to help.
All right, we'll hang on for about 5 more minutes in case any last minute questions come off, but thank you again for joining to learn more about the Community Service Program tax credits. We are available to answer any and all questions, so thanks again.
There, I see another question here, and you're going to have to help me with this historically. What percentage of applications are generally funded?
It's a great question. So we typically receive between 50 and 60 applications, and we're able to fund between 50 and 60% of those. Not all of them are fully funded, but yeah, about 50 to 60% depending on how many requests come in on that year.
Is there a maximum of support letters? Nope. No maximum there either. As many people as you have ready to support, we'd be happy to read through those.
I will make a note that the sheer number of letters will not matter if it's a form letter. If I get 20 form letters that all read exactly the same, it will still score very low. We are looking for them to be unique and heartfelt. We're also looking, again, as Miranda mentioned earlier, for a variety of sources, being those direct beneficiaries and board members. We want to see a broad base from where the letters come from. So if you have 20 letters that all come from your board, you will not score high. And hopefully you don't have 20 board members.
Like I mentioned earlier, we did record this, so this will be once we get it downloaded and all of that, we will get it up on the website. We'll also update that frequently asked questions document to include some of the questions, great questions today that we had asked and the responses for those. So you can reference that if needed.